Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Chat with a Rat, episode number 14, with Natasha. I don't know how to pronounce your last name.
It's okay, no one does. It's Samreny, like rain.
Okay. That's like kind of how I would have guessed, but
Well, you're smarter than most people in Malachi.
Yeah, I have a weird name too, though. So,
Was your name? Well, this is a stupid question, actually. Like, I've never seen Malachi spelled with a Y-E. That's cool.
Yeah. I never have either, other than my name, and then there's like a website that is called it's like Malachi.com,
Mm-hmm.
and it's spelled like my name, and they sell like surfing stuff and like skateboarding stuff. It's
Very
really
on
random
brand for you, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's really random. I don't know why it's called that. So I'll ask you first, the question I ask everyone first: how long have you been doing comedy for?
Yeah, I noticed on your episodes, and I like am so bad with numbers. I think it's been maybe 7-ish years.
Okay. Is that consecutively or?
Yeah, no, probably. Well, I mean, it is. So I actually started in improv and sketch. I was one of those nerds. So, like, I just noticed the sticker inside your table. It's cool. I at the time, like, I was doing stand up, but then I'd go in and out depending on what projects I had. So probably the last 4 years, I've been like really focused on it.
Okay. All right. And what made you want to start doing comedy in the first place?
I don't know. I'm a masochist.
That's a good question. That's a good answer. I mean.
Who knows? Or I guess the bigger question would be like, what makes you stick with it? Do you like? I don't know. I feel like every comedian ever has always said like, I'm gonna quit, or they quit for a while, and then they come back. Have you quit yet?
No, I haven't yet, but I've seen a lot of people do it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I feel like it's such like an absolute statement, which is why I never say it. I'm just like, I probably won't quit.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people too, like LJ.
You like reference him in every episode. He's just like the sidekick.
I know, right?
Like,
I know. I'm gonna have to have him come back on just because we talk about him so much.
Yeah, he should have a talk back that pops up like pop-up video.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a bullshit back.
But yeah, him, and I've seen a lot of other people do it too. They'll be like, I gotta take a break or whatever, for whatever reason, different reasons, but they're like getting burnt out or like, they're just whatever, not like just not having fun anymore, but they'll be like, yeah, I need a break, and you won't see them for like a few weeks or months or whatever. But I haven't even done that yet. Like I jump at every chance that I get to do anything that has
You're
to do
still
with
in the
comedy.
honeymoon phase.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
I think what I enjoyed about it is, I don't know, like, I guess I just enjoy the adrenaline rush. I'm an adrenaline junkie in a nerdy way. Even when you bomb on stage, like I don't mind it. I think because it just like feels like a real person experience and everything. So like, can I say fuck?
Yeah.
Everything's so fucking
everything's
so fucking digital these days. Like I don't know, stand up feels even if like you feel like you're wearing a mask or a character, it's fake in some ways. Like it feels very real because you're just in front of a bunch of randos and you really have no idea or control about like how things are gonna end up. And that I don't know, that just feels good to me.
Yeah, I don't.
No, not that's not why you do. Why do you do it?
I don't know, honestly.
How did you get started? Am I allowed to ask you questions, Malachi?
Yeah, you can ask me questions. I wrote jokes for like 2.5 years before I ever did it.
Just in a dedicated notebook, or? Like,
yeah, I still have the notebook. It's almost full now.
Are you gonna like brass it and sell it on Amazon when you become a headliner?
I was thinking about what I was gonna do with it after it's full because I only have I think 3 pages left or something in it. I wrote in that notebook. I wrote jokes in it for like 2.5 years, and at the time I was dating somebody who hated comedy, so I would constantly be writing jokes and asking them like, "Hey, do you think this is funny?" And they would just be like, "Nah," like they didn't.
I think I saw that on one of your posts or something you said, and it's so funny because like my boyfriend, he's a comedian too, and like he loves sharing his jokes, and I love hearing them, but I don't like to share mine. So I love that you said that. Yeah, like I don't get it because I feel so vulnerable when I share them just to one person, but I don't feel vulnerable when I share to a room full of like strangers.
No, I could see that. I guess. It depends. If I come up with like a premise of a joke or like something, I can like tell it to somebody, like just like one person, be like, hey man, I have
you think
jokes set up. It's kind of like this, blah blah blah. But to like actually like try to like perform a joke for somebody else, or whatever, that is like it's
you
like
stand there.
yeah, it's really like cringy. It's hard to do.
Really
I've had even people like try to like on the phone, like talking to somebody on the phone, be like, oh yeah, like tell me that joke. I'm like, okay, it's like. And I always tell it way, way worse than it's actually gonna be because it's just so hard to tell one person.
It's
like,
so hard, yeah. Yeah. There's no group mind you're relying on for them to laugh if it's not funny.
Right, yeah, exactly. And that's hard. I hate it when other people tell me their jokes too. It's just me. Because it's like you don't know how to like respond to it.
You feel like a lot of pressure. Like if it's not funny, you're just like, oh, cool.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how that turns out, man.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. And then like you don't know if it's like a pity laugh or what. Yeah. So, what do you think? What do you think about the stereotype of women in comedy?
What is the stereotype?
That people always say that women aren't funny.
Well, most people that say that are dudes, so I'm not surprised.
Right.
I mean, I guess it's a good question to ask, but I feel like it's a question that is always asked of women, and I just want to be like, well, I have a stereotype that most dudes aren't funny, they just have a lot more confidence.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, at the end of the day, to me, like, comedy's subjective. That's how I feel about it. It's subjective. Like, there's gonna be comedians that I just can't relate to, or some that I just think are on an off night.
Yeah.
And sometimes those are dudes, and sometimes those are women. So but to me, like, anyone that has broad sweeping generalizations like that, and they don't keep their mind or heart open to like real experience, and if it's actually that way, like, I honestly don't care what they say anyways.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, I actually was talking about it to like a few people outside of the club. I don't know, a few weeks ago or something, and somebody was saying like how have you seen any like women like comedians come in that you thought were funny or whatever? And I was like, yeah, I've seen a few here and there or whatever, and they're saying like, I can't remember exactly what they were saying, but something along the lines of like they don't see like a whole lot. Yeah. But then I was like, well, you got to think though. Also, we don't see a whole lot of women comedians, period.
Yeah.
So I was like, if you think like of the ratio, we see tons of guys that are funny, right? But we see tons of guys that are not funny. Also, we just don't see as many women comedians.
Thank
period.
you.
So. Yeah. So I mean, it makes sense.
I feel like it is a numbers game. Like they talk about that in politics too. Like in the general landscape. Like the first time a woman candidate runs for a big office or whatever, like any move she makes, people are just like, oh well, if she can't do this, or like if she's this terrible, like all women must be this terrible. But like if we apply that same standard to dudes, like we would never get anything done. Like dudes in the general sphere, like it is a privilege to have been able to like. In general, you guys get to fuck up in a lot of ways, and like people don't have a microscope on you, and that's not like you shouldn't feel bad about that. Like you should feel really lucky. But like I think a lot of women just want the same opportunity to like fuck up and not be like condemned for it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
But a lot of my favorite women comedians, headliners, like I'm a big fan of Maria Bamford and Tig Notaro, Fortune Feimster. I mean, back in the day, Carol Burnett, like she, as a sketch comedy writer and stuff, like I think she was pretty great. Yeah. So yeah, I have a lot of favorites.
Yeah, I used to actually be a big fan of Carol Burnett. Like whenever I was a kid, I used to watch her show all the time.
Like if your parents are into it, you like watch all the old stuff.
Yeah. I Love Lucy was like my favorite show when I was a little kid.
Yeah, she was great.
I watched that's what I grew up watching all the time. It was just like all old shows.
Like on VHS or like on
TV
reruns?
On TV Land, and also like we did have some like VHS and stuff like that I watched on. But yeah, like always like Nick at Night and like stuff like that.
They brought it back. We used to watch. My parents got like a VHS set of like Ed Sullivan Show, and like that's where we saw a lot of those too. Yeah, I thought it was really cool.
What is your biggest regret when it comes to comedy? Something that you wish you would have done or wish you wouldn't have done?
I wish I wouldn't have listened to people, other people early on.
Yeah.
You know, like, I appreciate, like, the advice and, like, the mentorship of people, but I think sometimes I took too many things to heart when it came to my comedy early on. Like, I remember I had, I was maybe 1 or 2 years in, and I was dating a guy at the time. It always comes back to who you're dating. Like, it does impact, right? Like, I was dating a guy at the time, and I remember he wasn't an artsy dude. He came to one of my shows. Oh, there's a fly. There's something. He came to one of my shows, and I think I had just had a normal night. Like, I didn't bomb, but I didn't crush or whatever. But I was pretty new. And, like, when we left, like, I didn't ask him for his feedback. But, like, he was basically like, he's like, you're not very funny.
Oh,
I was like, oh, my gosh. Like, yeah. And I just remember I took that to heart so much. And I should have just been like,
were you guys already
screw
dating
you.
at the
Yeah,
time?
like, we were dating exclusively. And I was like, well, screw it. Like, after that, I never invited dudes to my shows,
Oh,
you know, that I
man.
was dating. Because I was like, I don't know if I want your opinion. I don't know how long this will last, you know?
Yeah, that would be a lot if I was like dating someone and then brought them out to a show and they're like, I don't think you're funny.
Just like,
That would be hard to just like have sit in your head all the time. Yeah.
But do you even know me, man?
Right. I think I'm funny.
It's fine.
No, I could see though that comedy is one thing where people love to give you their opinion
They
and their
do.
advice all the time.
Like, what do people tell you about your little skits or whatever?
oh,
Yeah, they say that all the time.
So much. I get advice all the time, and it's funny because I am probably the last person that's going to take anyone's advice on anything. Like, I'll listen to it, you know, and if it's good advice, might consider it or whatever, but usually it's not.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I'll listen to whatever they have to say, but I don't know. It's just funny how many people will approach you constantly and be like, "Hey, man, you should change that joke to be like this or whatever." I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I wrote it that way for a reason. It's funny now and it works. It's you know, like, why would I change it if it's working already to something that I think is less funny?
Yeah,
like,
It's hard to know, like, how to even respond to those things. Sometimes I'm just like, okay, thanks, and, like, try and talk to someone else.
Yeah, right, yeah. I mean, I've had someone be like, hey, man, you know, maybe if you change this part of the joke to this.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not even that, though. I've had, like, Mike told me on a joke, he said, it doesn't need to be that long, just trim the fat off and make it shorter. And he was right. I made that joke shorter and it worked. But I don't think I've ever, like, changed a joke, like the word to something else or something.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, it's usually not as funny to me whenever they tell me. I'm like, no.
I think that's one of the tough things to stick to, too, going back to your question, is, like, as you're finding your voice as a comedian, like, trying to figure out, like, how much of this is me trying out styles or vibes from other comedians that I really dig because I'm trying to find my own voice, and how much of this, like, really feels like me. Like, you have to try a lot of weird shit sometimes before you settle on, like, what is really the core, and I don't know. At least I did.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't think I'll ever, like, change to be, like, you know, like a like storyteller type of comedian or something like that. But I do like trying out, like, different, like, approaches to, like, writing jokes and, like, you know, because at first, like, pretty much every joke I had was just, like, you know, like one-liner, like, all very short. Now, like, I've got it mixed up. I do still have, like, little short jokes like that, and most of my jokes aren't very long, but I've switched it up a little bit. It's not so much like just watching, like, Mitch Hedberg now or something, you know?
Was he, like, one of your favorites when you started out?
Yeah, I love Mitch Hedberg, and like Anthony Jeselnik. Both of them are probably, like, two of my biggest influence when it comes to writing jokes.
Yeah, they're so, like, sharp and punchy and sly, but, like, without, I don't know. But they have such different styles in some ways.
Yeah,
really, like,
what is the worst bomb that you can remember?
Oh, God. There's been so many. One of the worst was, I did this show, I think it was, like, somewhere between Northport and Port Charlotte, and just to set the stage, Jeff, the guy I'm dating, came with me at the time. We drove down together, and at the end of the set, he essentially, he went outside to smoke, and he sent me a text emoji that was just like, his avatar in front of a dumpster fire. Like, it had been a dumpster fire, but that was like his way of saying, yo, I see what's going on, I'm so sorry. Like, and then we went outside and deconstructed. But I did a feature, and I took some heart that the headliner didn't even do well. I think
right.
only the host did well. But it was at this small place that they usually do music shows, and I guess this was sort of like a one-off of a comedy show. So of course everyone there already is just like, what the fuck are you guys?
Yes.
We don't want to see
yes.
it, like, you know. And I'm not conservative at all, and it ended up being like 30 people from out of town, from New England, and I know that because they were all talking about the Patriots the whole time. New England in the front row, mostly old white dudes, and they were just like staring at me with the steely death stare. I couldn't get anything out of them.
Oh,
So it was rough. It hurts your heart a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure. And well, you know, but like you said, it's always good when something like that happens, and it sucks to say, but it's true, that to see other people not do well also.
You have to take comfort somewhere. Like,
yeah.
if you don't take comfort in someone else bombing, you take comfort in, like, I don't know, lighting the night on fire in some destructive way.
Right. Yeah.
Like, have you bombed yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How did you get over it really fast, or like some comedians like really dwell on it?
No, honestly it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Most of the time that I bomb, it's either because like you can tell that the crowd just doesn't want to hear a comedian, period, or because I'm like trying out like some new stuff that I like, you know, just wrote that day or something, you know. So I don't really care that much. Even if I did my regular material and bombed, I don't think I would care.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, no, whatever.
I care less probably than I should most of the time, and I'm just like, maybe that's why I have not gone further.
I don't care
You know?
because I do well more than I do bad.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as I can keep up that ratio, I don't think it's going to bother me. If it starts
game.
turning around to where like I'm all doing bad, then I'll be then I'll probably
gotta fix some shit.
Yeah, then I'd be upset and start worrying.
That makes sense.
What's your what is your biggest win, do you think, involved with comedy?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know. I have to. I think of two. Maybe they're more conceptual. So the one is that probably in the last 2 years, I've gotten much more comfortable in like some of my character work for my jokes. So like my improv background, I just enjoy doing like some impressions, not of celebrities or anyone you know, but just like the people inside my head.
Right.
I enjoy having fun and playing on stage, like you know. So I've given myself permission to do that. I've tried that shit out, and incorporated that. And then I think the other one was like a few years ago. I love traveling, and I was just like, you know, I'm not finding the spark of what I want to hear right now. I'm gonna switch the game up a bit, and I'd found out about the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and I like gave myself a year. I'm just like, I'm gonna submit to try and be in that festival. I'm gonna go travel during the summer, and I got into 2 festivals, and I just like I set a goal, which I'm not very good at goals. I set a goal, and I made it there, and for like 2 months I was just like performing fringe shows and like meeting a shitload of artists from around the world, and just I really just wanted like a different perspective on comedy in general, performance, and my comedy, because it's funny somewhere in Central Florida or in the U.S. doesn't mean it's funny anywhere else.
Right.
So that was a big win for me. Like, it was just, you know, taking myself out of my comfort zone and just, you know, being back into the world, I guess. Yeah.
You were traveling doing that?
Yeah.
That's cool. Was it like a whole group of you guys traveling?
No, it was just me. I pitched a storytelling show, and I got into the Free Fringe, which is part of Edinburgh Fringe, and then the Camden Fringe in London. So I ended up doing like a week and a half of storytelling shows, and then a stand-up show with a bunch of comedians that I met there. One of their comedians had dropped out, and I was like, I'll do it. And then I got to see a shitload of like performances from around the world that just like really like forced me to think of performance in different ways, you know. Like in one night I would go from seeing like a short like rock opera to like a one-woman show to like a beatboxing show, and just like shit you can't do here, you know.
Yeah.
So it's good. Yeah.
That's cool.
What was one of your wins? You thought about that?
No, I haven't, honestly.
Are you still waiting for it, or is there something you're really proud of?
I don't know. I've had a lot of like wins, a lot, mostly, you know, like smaller wins, but
Yeah.
a lot of them, like I've had a lot of good opportunities since I started doing comedy, to be, you know, only doing it for as long as I have, like probably like about 10 months now.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm like linked up with Mike, you know, and now I'm working at the club. I'm the DJ there, and like, so I get on a lot of shows there.
That's
also,
awesome.
and get a lot of opportunities to do that. And through that, I've met like other comedians
Mm-hmm.
from Tampa and St. Pete, Orlando, all kinds of stuff. So now I'm getting booked on shows in Orlando and St. Pete, and you know, so it's great.
You found your access. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I just lucked into it, but it was awesome.
How was didn't you do like sound, or were you involved in like the Hot Mess show recently?
I did sound for the Hot Mess show last night.
Okay, cool.
I did the
cool.
last Hot Mess show that they had there like a month ago.
Oh my god, did it make you sick?
I was miserable. It ruined my whole
Why
night.
do people do that?
Well, I didn't volunteer to do that. Mike volunteered me for it. Because Kyle Roos and Jander performed there the night before,
Mhm.
and Kyle was the headliner,
Mhm.
and they had some, oh man, I always forget that guy's name.
And some other dude.
Yeah, he's funny too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you hear this. I apologize. But yeah, they did a show the night before, and Mike wanted me to host it,
Mhm.
and but then the night after that they're doing the Hot Mess show, and Mike was like, "Well, you can host this night, and then you can do the Hot Mess show the next day." And I'm just like, "Yeah, cool."
Whatever,
and like,
man.
I didn't even know what it was. I was just like, "Yeah, totally, I'm down," you know. And then I started finding out more about like what it was, and I was like, "Oh man, I don't know if I want to do this," but I was like, you know, I'm gonna do it. You know, Mike already like told him I was doing it.
Say yes to everything, right?
Exactly.
Good for you.
But yeah, and it's a great show.
Mhm.
It's super funny, super fun, but God, I'll never do it again.
It's like so physical comedy. Like everyone's just like laughing at you guys just suffering.
Yeah. I was dying on that stage. It was crazy. I was like, I almost threw up, but I didn't.
Oh my
I stopped
God.
myself from throwing up.
Good for
Yeah.
you.
There was somebody that threw up that night.
Are
but
you
it wasn't me.
serious?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, so scary.
Let's see here. What's your biggest goal when it comes to comedy?
I don't think about this as much as I probably should. But, I don't know if I have a big goal like on the stage. Honestly, I think it is just to continue to be like as authentic as possible as I can in my comedy, and to like shed out all the jokes that I would do because people would laugh at them, but I just felt they were hacky.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't have any big goals yet.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's fine. That
You give me a C on my goal. Thank you. I pass.
I think that's fine.
Do you have any
To
grand goals?
Just do it because you like doing it. I think that's probably the right mindset to have. Just do it because you like to do it. I do. My goal is to one day be able to do cruise ships.
Nice.
I think that would be the sweetest job in the whole world.
Because you just want to travel and
Yeah, you just get to go on
yeah.
cruises, perform a couple times a day or
It's pretty
whatever,
great.
and you get paid for it.
Yeah, you're just gonna drop
It's
in.
the greatest job ever.
Yeah,
I
it's
get to
legit.
do comedy and travel on a cruise.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's hopefully one day. That's my goal.
I mean, I dig that. No, you're right. Like, I would love to travel and do comedy. I guess sometimes it just seems so like far away, or like whenever I've traveled for gigs, it's been in like a some small podunk town, which is fine. But like, I want to see big places too. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, I thought about I was thinking that it would probably be hard to become like a cruise ship comedian,
Mhm.
but then I've met some people that are cruise ship comedians, and I've met some people that were like in talks with people like to that they were like wanted them to come do it, and the person was like, "Oh, I'm not sure if I really want to do it or whatever." I know, right?
Why not? So it's like not that far away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After I talked to them, didn't really seem. I mean, I don't want.
Yeah, you don't want to jinx it.
I think I was funnier than them.
Oh, there it is.
Some of them.
There's the humble comment.
No, but I mean, yeah, like after talking to those people, I was like, okay, maybe this is something I could do.
Yeah.
These people aren't like some big celebrities or anything, you know, they're just like some regular comedians.
I guess so.
I don't think bigger comedians really want to do that job. It doesn't seem like so.
Yeah, it seems like a stepping stone for a lot of people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's just where I'm trying to get. I don't care about stepping anywhere further.
Yeah, you
than
can
that.
think about the next.
If I get there, then I'm good. I just want to be that cruise dude.
I can just imagine 80-year-old Malachi, like just in the same outfit,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
different dress.
Yeah, the leather jacket, but like some like swimming trunks.
Yeah.
Strolling around the
Living
cruise.
the sailor life.
Exactly. That's my dream.
That's funny.
Do you still, after doing comedy for so long, do you still ever get nervous before performing? Or do you always still get nervous before performing?
That's a lot of those modifiers in the correct order. I don't know. Yeah, I always still sometimes. Yeah, totally. I think it depends on the crowd and like who you're working with. You know, when you work with a headliner, a comedian that you really dig, and you're just like, I don't want to fuck this up.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But then I try and find a way to fix it. I'm not very good at that. Like I try to avoid, except when I'm out and doing comedy once in a while, to like drink alcohol at all anymore or caffeine, because like I don't know, like if I drink, I'm like a 65-year-old lady. Like if I drink coffee at like 10 a.m., I will stay up all night. So to answer your question, yeah, I do get nervous sometimes, and then when I try and fix it, things get even worse.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I don't really know what to do about it except like just sort of breathe through it or like run around outside and then just like I don't know, focus on my jokes and lean in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't drink caffeine very much either. I don't drink coffee, period.
Really?
Yeah.
It's too much?
It's way too much.
Yeah.
I'll drink soda occasionally, but even now, like I can't drink very much of it because my nerves are shot out already. I have Tourette's, so with that comes like anxiety.
Yes.
And depression, like all kinds of fun things. But
so you already have to fuck up with that shit. Like you don't want to. Yeah.
So like I'm always at like a 10 already. Like look at my hand like just right now. It's like I'm always just like shaky and like that's my normal existence.
Yeah,
you know.
that's
so
your baseline.
I don't need caffeine
No,
to
no,
make
no.
it any worse. I'll go into like a full blown panic attack. I'll probably drink
Yes.
like if I drink coffee. So.
And I didn't know that. Like I have anxiety, and I like people. I guess I come off sometimes as pretty low key until I start talking, and so people are always just like, they don't always know you have anxiety or whatever it is because you just keep it behind, like the energy doesn't express itself. So yeah, it's the same thing. I feel
Yeah.
I can't do the coffee.
Yeah, anything that makes my anxiety worse, I can't deal with.
I'll tell you this thing that happened worse. I was well, not worse, but like that made me really nervous on stage. I did this storytelling show probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and I was hosting it. It was in Sarasota, and I was super excited about the story I was telling, and it was, a couple seasoned storytellers and then a couple new ones, so it was a gorgeous stage. At the time, I was like wearing these contact lenses that for whatever reason, if you accidentally touch them, like they would cloud up or blur up, and that night, right as I go on stage, I like rubbed my eye or something, and like everything like went like cloudy, like it was like a smudge on it, and I couldn't see anything, and I was like, fuck. And I had brought notes up because it was a newer story, so I was going to tell it, but like I had on the notes, like I had certain beats and like the names of the people coming up. So then at that point, like it's worse for me to like see everything blurry, so I just like, before I walked up, I just took my contacts out, and I was on stage. My vision, Malachi, is so bad without contacts. So I'm on stage, like, basically blind. And I just, like, put my notes aside, and I did a completely different story. But for the first, like, 3 minutes, it was the shaking, and my heart was racing. I'm like, I'm about to bomb at my own show. Like,
yeah.
I made it through this fine.
I bet that would be.
I'm sure I look like a weirdo. Whatever.
At least you had a backup plan.
Just take out my contacts and wing it.
Yeah.
It's really solid.
I don't. And the funny thing is the only time I don't like feel like super anxious really is when I actually like get on stage and start like performing.
Yeah.
Before I go on stage, I'll be anxious, but when I get up there